Ethan never thought his life would change because of an old letter. It came on a rainy afternoon, tucked into a brown envelope with a heavy wax seal. Inside, he learned that a distant relative he had never met left him an entire mansion. The house stood far away from the city, hidden in the countryside, forgotten by most. At first, he didn't know if he should even go. His life in the city was small but comfortable. Yet something about the letter pulled at him, as if a part of him was missing and waiting there. So he packed his bags and left. When he arrived, the mansion stood tall and silent, covered in ivy. The windows were dark, and the air felt heavy, almost lonely. He walked through the front doors and felt a chill sweep over him. The place was too big, too empty. For the first few nights, Ethan tried to settle in. He explored the hallways, lit candles in dusty corners, and wondered about the family he had never known. But every evening, as the sun went down, he felt a strange sadness press into his chest. It wasn't just the house, it was something deeper. He thought about Clara, the only person who had ever really understood him. She had been his closest friend in the city, someone who laughed with him, listened to him, and made the world brighter. But Clara had moved away months ago. She left for another country, chasing her dreams. Ethan had told her he was happy for her, but inside he had felt left behind. Now, alone in the mansion, he felt that distance more than ever. The silence of the halls reminded him of the silence in his phone. No new messages, no calls. He wanted to reach out to her, but he didn't know what to say. Would she even answer? Or had she already moved on, leaving him only with memories? One night, as he lay in bed staring at the ceiling, the sadness became so heavy it felt like a weight on his chest. He whispered into the darkness, "I wish you were here." That's when he felt it. The air in the room shifted, like someone else was breathing beside him. He sat up quickly, and there, at the edge of his bed, was a figure, a woman. Her hair was dark and flowed like silk. Her eyes glowed softly in the dim candlelight. She smiled gently, as if she had been waiting. "I am Leora," she said. Her voice was soft, almost musical. "And you are the one I have been waiting for." Ethan froze. "What are you doing in my house? Who are you?" "I am bound to this place," she said calmly. "I have watched it stand through centuries, and now that you are here, I can finally speak. You are my chosen one." Ethan shook his head. "That's impossible. I'm just me. No one's special." But she didn't move. Her eyes stayed locked on his, steady and calm. "You underestimate yourself. It is not power or wealth that makes someone chosen. It is the strength of your heart. That is why you are here." Her words stirred something inside him, something that reminded him of Clara. Clara used to tell him he cared more deeply than anyone she knew. She used to say he had a way of seeing hope even when things looked dark. Yet now, sitting in this empty mansion, he didn't feel strong. He felt forgotten. "I don't believe you," Ethan muttered. "I don't even know what I'm doing here. I don't know what I'm supposed to be." Leora's expression softened. "That is what makes you human. You doubt, you question, you search. But it is also what makes you stronger than you realize. I have seen kings fall and warriors fade, but the human heart endures. Yours endures." Her words touched him in a way he didn't expect. He thought of Clara again, how even though she was far away, his feelings for her hadn't faded. The distance hurt, but the connection still lived inside him. Maybe that was what it meant to be human, to carry love, even through silence and miles. For the first time in days, Ethan didn't feel completely alone. He didn't know if Leora was real, or if she was part of his tired imagination. But in that moment, she gave him something he had been missing, a reminder of his own strength. That night, as he closed his eyes, Ethan realized something. He couldn't let the distance between him and Clara become a wall. He had to try, even if he didn't know how, even if it scared him, because that's what humans did. They reached for each other even across impossible spaces. The mansion creaked around him as he drifted into sleep, but the words echoed in his mind, chosen one. And when he dreamed, he saw Clara's smile again, warm and close, as if the distance between them had never existed. He woke with a quiet determination. He didn't yet know what the mansion held or why Leora had appeared, but he knew one thing. He wouldn't let distance define him. He wouldn't give up on the people he cared about. And so, his story truly began. I inherited a mansion, and a succubus appears in my bed. She insists I'm her chosen one. The morning light filtered through the tall windows of the mansion, casting pale golden beams across the dusty floor. Ethan sat at the edge of his bed, rubbing his eyes. He wasn't sure if the night before had been real or just a dream. The memory of Leora's glowing eyes and soft voice stayed with him. Yet the room was empty now, silent except for the chirping of birds outside. But one thing was clear. She had stirred something inside him. She had reminded him of what he was, missing. Clara. Ethan picked up his phone from the bedside table. The screen was dark, no new messages. He scrolled up through their old conversations, most of them months old. They used to talk every day about books, about movies, about silly little things that didn't matter but made them laugh. Now there was only silence. He wanted to type something. Anything. Hey, how are you? Or maybe I miss you. But every time his fingers touched the screen, he froze. What if she didn't want to hear from him anymore? What if she was busy with her new life and new friends? What if he was just clinging to the past? The mansion's quietness seemed to press down on him, as if the walls themselves were listening to his hesitation. He stood up, pacing the room. I can't just sit here, he muttered. As if answering his thoughts, a soft voice spoke from the shadows. Why do you stop yourself? Ethan turned quickly. Leora stood near the window, her form half hidden by the light. Her expression was calm, but curious. You're real, Ethan whispered. I told you, she said with a faint smile. I am bound to this place, and you. You are bound by your own heart. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. It's not that simple, she's far away. I don't even know what I'd say to her. Leora tilted her head. You humans have a gift I do not. You can carry love across distance. You can feel close to someone even when they are not here. Why waste that gift in silence? Her words struck him. He sat back down, staring at the phone again. Because I'm afraid, he admitted. What if she's moved on? What if I don't matter anymore? Leora walked closer, her steps soundless on the wooden floor. You matter because you care. That alone makes you stronger than any fear. Do you not see? This is what makes your kind remarkable. Ethan looked up at her. You talk like you've been watching humans for a long time. I have, she said softly. I have seen empires rise and fall, seen greed consume kings and warriors. But I have also seen humans write letters to loved ones across oceans, waiting years for a reply. I have seen them hold on to hope when the world told them to let go. That is why I call you chosen, not for power, for your humanity. Ethan felt a lump in his throat. She was right. Even if Clara didn't answer, even if nothing came of it, reaching out was still better than silence, because silence was its own kind of defeat. He took a deep breath, opened his messages, and typed slowly. Hi, Clara. I was just thinking about you today. I hope you're doing okay. His thumb hovered over the send button. His heart raced. Leora watched, quietly, her eyes glowing faintly in the light. Do not fear what comes after. The act itself is strength. Ethan pressed send. The message flew into the digital void. For a moment, nothing happened. His chest tightened with both relief and dread. It was out of his hands now. He set the phone down and stood up, restless. Now what? Now, Leora said, you wait, and you live. Ethan gave a small laugh. Easier said than done. Over the next few days, he tried to do just that. He explored more of the mansion, uncovering rooms that hadn't been touched in decades. There was a library with shelves stretching to the ceiling, filled with books that smelled of dust and history. There was a hidden garden behind broken glass doors, where weeds had overtaken cracked stone paths. Every discovery reminded him that this place was more than a house. It was a story, one he was now part of. Yet always, in the back of his mind, was the question, would Clara answer? At night, when the house creaked and whispered, Leora would appear again. Sometimes they argued about fate and choice. Sometimes they sat in silence, simply sharing the space. Ethan found comfort in her presence. Strange as it was, she wasn't Clara, but she reminded him of something Clara had once said. You always try to see the good in things, even when they're falling apart. 3 days passed. No reply. Ethan tried to convince himself not to care. But one evening, he was reading in the library, his phone buzzed, his heart jumped. He grabbed it quickly, it was her. Hi, Ethan, I'm glad you wrote. I miss our talks too. Things are busy here, but I'd love to catch up sometime. How have you been? Ethan read the message twice, then 3 times. A smile spread across his face. Small at first, then wider. She hadn't forgotten him. She still cared even from far away. Leora appeared at the doorway, watching him quietly. She answered. Ethan nodded, still staring at the screen. Yeah, she did. You see? Leora said gently. Hope is not wasted. The bond you carry lives. Even across distance, Ethan leaned.